All right, today we're going to dig into the story of a real estate group that makes a pretty bold claim. They say they're more than just a company. They say they're a movement. So what does that actually mean? Let's unpack the story of One West Group and find out.
So let's start with a big question. In an industry that's just packed with competing brokerages, what really makes one stand out? It's got to be more than just how many houses they sell, right? It's about their identity, their purpose. It's about why they even exist in the first place. And that brings us right to this claim from One West Group. They don't call themselves just another brokerage. They call themselves a movement. Now, that is a seriously powerful statement. So let's see what they mean by that and, how they actually try to back it up. So this whole movement idea, it's not just some empty slogan, at least according to their story. It's actually built on a very specific foundational vision. And that's exactly where we're going to start, right at the beginning. So how do you even begin to build the case that your company is a movement? Well, this whole narrative, it really starts with one person, the founder, Karl Markarian. He's presented as the architect, the one who came up with the entire philosophy. And this number, it's pretty central to their story. We're talking about over 3 decades in the real estate game. So that tells you right away that the vision we're about to explore wasn't just some overnight idea. It was forged from decades of real-world industry experience. And that experience wasn't just in one place, it was global. The journey kicked off in Toronto, then moved to the super fast-paced market of Dubai, and finally landed in Los Angeles, which is where he founded One West Group. You have to imagine each of those places gave him a really different perspective on how the industry could and maybe should work. So what was the big takeaway from all that global experience? Well, it was a desire to build something different. Not just another company focused on transactions, but a platform, a place that was really about building meaningful relationships, acting with integrity, and creating a space where both clients and professionals could genuinely grow. This became the why behind the whole thing. Okay, so now we've got the why. That's the founder's philosophy. So now let's get into the how. What's the actual blueprint they used to turn that philosophy into a business that's actually growing and functioning? The company's official vision is to redefine the real estate experience. But the definition here is what's really key. It's not about sales goals or market share. It's about creating a culture where professionals thrive, clients feel truly valued, and communities actually benefit. I mean, that's a very people-first approach for an industry that's often so results-driven. And to make that vision a reality, they lay out this 4-pillar mission. You can kind of think of it as their strategic playbook. First, empower clients with amazing service. Second, elevate professionals, focusing on their own team's success. Third, expand with purpose, so not just growing for the sake of it. And finally, lead with values. It's a really comprehensive framework that ties everything back to that founding philosophy we talked about. So, you've got this strong vision, you've got a clear mission, but what does the company actually do? This is where the rubber meets the road, the actual tangible services they offer. Okay, so their expertise covers a lot of ground. You've got commercial investment sales, residential sales, and strategic advisory services. But notice that last bullet point, team development and coaching. This connects directly back to their mission of elevating professionals. So they're not just out there selling properties, they're literally framing their business around building up expertise from the inside out. This quote really seems to be the engine behind all those services. It's not just about what they do, but how they do it. Discipline, data, and a commitment to excellence. That language suggests a super rigorous professional approach that's designed to ground their big aspirational vision in day-to-day reality. The company's story also puts a really heavy emphasis on the future. It's all about momentum and this idea of creating a long-term impact that lasts. This comparison right here shows a pretty clear evolution in how they even talk about themselves. What started as a single brokerage is now described as a growing network of trusted advisors. That shift in language is totally intentional. It suggests a move from being just one company to being a more collaborative, spread-out network. And that network isn't just a concept, it's physically expanding. The strategy isn't to just own one area, but to scale their specific way of doing business from their home base in LA into other key markets across the US.
And this really brings us full circle to that whole idea of a vision in motion.
The brand isn't presented like it's a finished product. It's an ongoing process, a continuous development. The whole vibe is meant to feel dynamic, not static.
And it all comes together in this final, really powerful statement. This is the ultimate purpose they're shooting for. The goal is to reframe a real estate deal from just a simple transaction into something way more significant, something that lasts, building legacies for their clients, their team, and their communities.
So this leaves us with one last thing to think about. The story of One West Group really poses a bigger question for any industry, doesn't it? Can a clear, people-focused vision do more than just build a successful company? Can it actually help transform an entire industry? Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.